Ba, ba, ba. We are live. Yes, we are. Okay, cool. Okay, all of that is set up. So, welcome back, everyone. It's been another week. We are going to continue on with the texturing of the Hyena Bard. We have made some good progress over the last couple of sessions. Maybe it's time to also include the axe now, as the body is blocked out. I did some studying, and I now know how I want to do the tattoo on the stomach. So we'll do that one first. As a minor point, this is for the viewers. Currently, it's quite warm over here right now, so I have the door open plus a ventilator. Please let me know if any of that is audible in the background, or if if the microphone starts picking up stuff that it shouldn't. Other than that, I think we're ready to go. Okay, I'm looking at my microphone inputs. I just heard a car race by and it didn't pick it up, so I think we're fine. Cool. Alright, so looking at the concept art, this guy has 2 stars and the word peace on his lower stomach. Last time, or 2 streams ago, we tried to freehand it. We learned that I am by no means a tattoo artist and can't freehand it. So I decided to create an alpha, and we're going to use some alphas that are included inside Substance Painter itself. So to start, we'll make the stars. So we have the scar. We'll keep it somewhat grouped up. It's going to be underneath the scar, so we'll just do tattoo stars. Just so that it's descriptive. I need... Again, I'm not going to color pick it. Or rather, I'm not going to fill in the color itself. I'm just going to color pick it. For that, I'm going to need my pure ref. Because fun fact, right before the stream started, I wanted to rebake a couple of things. It turns out my computer doesn't like rebaking things at this high temperature, so it just froze and closed down everything. So, yeah. Okay, cool. Color of the tattoo, let's make it this color. Again, we need a black mask, which we want a fill layer. Fill layer, we're going to call this one stars. Here, alpha. Somewhere in here is a star. So again, if you haven't done so already, Substance Painter comes with a lot of custom alphas as starters, or to whatchamacallit. There's a lot of cool alphas in here that you can customize that are really useful. Take an afternoon to go through it and see which ones are static, see which ones are interactive. Here we go, 5-pointed star. We'll throw down the alpha channel. And with that, you can see it's getting projected as a 2D projection on the UV. That's because over here we have our projection. I am going to set this to planar projection, which then turns it into a world space projection. Start moving it into place. WER for transformation, rotation, and scaling. Down. Gotta make sure that our shape is cropped so it doesn't go everywhere. So rotate a little bit. Okay, that one needs to be far smaller. Whenever it begins to fade like this, it means it's getting too close to the bounding box. So if we just scale it out a little bit, that will once again cause it to solidify. A little bit of a rotation to it. And thankfully in 2025 we have a little option here that is called Enable Symmetry. Just like that, we have our stars. Let me check for positioning. So I'm mainly going to be looking at the belt where two of the stars are, rather two of the points are barely behind it. Scale a little bit. It doesn't touch the scar. Probably something like this. Make sure that this is also rotated properly so you have fewer distortion. I think this looks good. And then we have some negative space, because if we look at the reference, it'll probably not be that visible, as all of you are looking at a very zoomed out picture, whereas I am like supremely zoomed in on it. Every point of the star has like half negative space, so what we can do is add a paint layer over it. Make sure we have symmetry enabled. And we can just manually paint out. Let's see. Because again, white pixels, that information gets allowed through. Black pixels, it gets removed. So what we can do is with a black brush, go over it, start painting it out like this. Going. Don't need to be that concise with it, because later on I'll, again, with a white brush, make sure that the length, wow, the heat is really doing a number on my brain. I can straighten out the edges by just grabbing a black brush later on, or rather the eraser, and I'll make sure that all of these lines are sharp again. Again, it's probably best that I did not end up becoming a tattoo artist, because I would make wobbly lines on everyone's skin. Blocked out, that looks like what I want. Now with the eraser, because again, this is just painted pixel information. Now with the eraser, just like Photoshop and a lot of other Adobe products, we set a point. Brush is actually the correct size. Size is also turned off. We choose a point, and then holding down shift, we can draw straight lines. Just like that. Everything is sharp again. Again, we are working in symmetry, so whatever I do on one side also automatically happens on the other. I think tattoo artists would really like that feature in real life. Okay, and just like that, we have the stars that we want. Cool. Again, combination of using an alpha that comes with Substance Painter and then just manually painting on top of it, and you can get something new and unique. Cool. Up next, we need the word peace. I went to the internet, I used some tools to try and figure out which letter type was being used, and I think I found something that is close to it. And I turned it into a black and white alpha by just screenshotting it. And I'm going to import this as an alpha. Now we have it over here. It's the word peace. Once again, add it as a fill layer. Again, you see that it is being projected. And for this one, I want it to be a warp projection. Because we could do a planar projection, but then we lose the ability to bend it a little bit. Because again, looking at the concept, the word peace isn't tattooed in a straight line. It has a bit of an arc to it. So I'm going to be using the warp or the warp tools to give it that curvature. So I'm going to give it warp projection. Same as before. Scale it. Forward a little bit. You can see these small arrows. And that is the projection depth. Everything that's not in it, it will not hit the skin. So that's why you see that it doesn't hit the stomach, but it does hit the pants underneath. It's because the depth isn't there yet. Here, projection depth, I can increase that. Now, if I move it, now you do see that it gets projected everywhere. However, one little issue we have with this one. We can see that we've lost our stars. And if we look at the masking information, we see that the black information has overwritten the stars underneath it. So what we have to do is change the blending mode, and we're going to set it to linear dodge parentheses add. So now we are adding our white pixels to whatever is underneath. We're adding white pixel information, adding it to whatever layer stack is underneath it. So now we are basically combining, we have both of our squish it a bit. Sure that we have our scale set as close as possible from the start. So if I'm looking at the rev, the P and the E are almost touching the stars. And it's a tattoo, it needs to be pretty bold. So I'm gonna maybe make it slightly bigger. Cool. I haven't worked with this too much, but I believe if I go up here, the menu isn't popping up due to OBS recordings, but over here it says edit warp as a whole. And I have options of transform, warp, edit vertices. What happens if I click transform? Not a lot. However, if I click on edit vertices, I start moving things now, things are beginning to move. carefully, I can give this some curvature. Okay, it is a little bit wonky. Mainly zoom out. Now, yeah, so a little bit of an inconsistency between the concept art and what we have over here. On the concept art, the center line is between the E and the A of the word piece, and on our concept, or on our 3D model, the A is at the center. I think that has something to do with the way that the character is being drawn at an angle. If they would have pushed the word a little bit further to the other side, the star would have been lost. So this is where I'm going to make a decision and just center the word a little bit more and break away from the concept. Cool. Also, this happens in any project. The longer you work on it, the more mistakes you start noticing. Because now I'm looking at the distance of the belly button and where the first separation of the six-pack is. And again, in the concept, you don't really see this line all that much. However, I sculpted it in. So the longer you work at something, the more inconsistencies you find. This is fine. Just keep it in mind for future projects. I'm not going to go back to the high poly and resculpt the apps and then rebake everything. It's like, no, we've made a decision. We're going to stick with it. And I still think that it looks wicked. So this is fine. Hey, Korai. Welcome on in. Am I sure that I'm not going to go back to the high poly stage? Yes. Don't tempt me. In theory, I could redo everything in the texturing stage. I could, because it is possible. If I go to the normal maps, where is it? Come on. There they are. This is just pixel information. If I want to, I can just repaint the pixel information. It's just gonna take a god-awful amount of time. Looks fantastic. Thank you. Alright. So here we have it. The stars, the word piece. One thing that I do want to change a little bit. It's currently, this is like pixel perfect sharp, and I don't want that on a tattoo. I'm gonna add a small filter. I'm going to add a blur to it, and we're going to set it to something extremely low, such as 0.1. Just so that it looks a little bit more blended with the skin underneath. Hey Mora, welcome on in. Alright. So here we have our tattoo. Let's see. Base colors. I have checked and... Oh, again, let me change this one. I looked at this reference again, and this guy has spots on his back. So let me also add that real quick. How are all of you doing? How is your week been doing, and how is the weather over there? going to be artistic, so it's going to be a paint layer rather than a fill layer. And let's see, color has to be something like this. Soft brush will just oh, that's another save. Okay, there we go. I think I want to smear this a little bit. I rarely use the smear brush. Spread them out a little bit. A little bit more integrated. Cool. What else do we have on the main body? I got rid of this chunk here. So now that ID map is also lining up. Let's see. Last time we did the glove. I'm still looking at how I did the metal effect, like chip damage and stuff, like the gold plating or the gold layer on top of that chipping away. And again, the style by which it's chipping does not equal the shape language or like the let's say the world logic of where this character comes from. I'm looking at the straps and I'm looking at the cuts and the scrapes that are on there. Those are all very sharp shapes. And on the mask, again, it has a certain way of chipping away. Whereas on my 3D project, it still looks like generic brush paints. And that is not what we want. We want it to feel more integrated. So we are absolutely going to look at that later. I think as a start though, I do wish to block out the axe as well. Take a sip of water. All right. So for the axe, I think a lot of it is... I think a lot of the diffuse that we want are already somewhere in the Hyena Bard, so we can just copy paste layers. So let's see, let's get the metal first. Where do we have metal? We have it over here in the shin guards, or the foot guards. Accessories. Cards, alright, this one. Copy. Basic guitar. Group it, call it metal. Okay. Another one. Gold metal, which we're gonna steal from accessories. Gold metal, there it is. So I'm not gonna instance this one, mainly because I would like a little bit more control. Because again, this gold metal, same for the mask, it has chipping, it has the gray underneath it. Set up this layering. Move mask. We'll put the mask in here in the group. Mask. Color. Right parts. Let's see. Then we have brighter metal. Let's see. So this one with a color selection. Right things to it, such as these ones. Threads. Cool. Oh, and the strings themselves. Let's see. Color selection. All of these strings have the same ID map, so that's good. And we'll... Cool. That's for the bit. Oh, wait, can't. I keep forgetting about that skull. Let's see. For that one, we are going to be grabbing the color from the skull on the wrist. I'll just copy the entire folder. So we'll get rid of the blood and give it the correct color. So that's it for the base diffuse. Now we need to start putting in some of the edge wear. Again, this is where I... Oh, hey, what's up? Welcome on in. Happy to see you. Let's see. Okay, so base diffuse, diffuse breakup. I'm wondering something, because this is what I did on the bird gunner. Because I don't always use clouds. In order to mimic brush strokes, I can also just use different repeatable alphas. So this one. Paint. Was it? So we have ads starting in minutes, so if you need to get up, stretch your legs, please do so. Fibers. I'm going over the alphas right now. I'm feeling funky, let's use grunge. So grunge, again, someone took a picture of like one of those rusty cargo bins and then turned it into an alpha. You yourself can create alpha brushes from just about anything. Just take a picture of it, make sure that the lighting is somewhat evenly, and then create it into a black and white image. That's what the vast majority of alphas in the world are. Just manipulated pictures. A little bit too grungy. I need something with leaking streaks on it. See how that looks. Because if I go here, all of you will actually see what I'm going through. Starter assets, alphas. Where's my grunge? Leaks? No. Oh, wait, I need the procedurals, grunges. Yeah, here we have the stuff. This is also where you can get some really nice, interesting results. Rotate it. Not a solid 90-degree rotation. Something at a bit more of an angle. What does it look like if we do triplane projection? I like that. Because again, this is an axe. This thing... Back everyone. This thing gets swung around, so I'm looking at like, okay, what direction? If this thing cleaves into something and blood splatters over it, or like it hits armor, what's the direction of the damage? What's the direction of the liquid flowing? What's what are the areas that get most banged up versus what creases does nothing like build up? Like all of these questions at the beginning seem so bothersome, and like, why do I have to keep asking these questions all the time? Eventually they become second nature, and you start making all of these choices almost passively. Okay. Let's see. I'm stalling a little bit because I'm not quite sure where I want to go, and now we're getting closer and closer to the discomfort area of I have my project, it is textured, but I need to somehow push it on to the next level. And that's the scary part. So I keep trying to find comfort picks, but we're quickly running out. Eventually we'll have to start doing artistry. Hey Melby, welcome on in. Let's see, gray metal. Just gonna look at the concept art real hard. Oh, there's actually one thing that we never sculpted in, it seems. Let me... If we look at the... What is this? Oh, there was a huge truck going on in the background. If we look at the top of the neck, we can see that where the strings are getting connected to that part of the axe, there is actually a bit of an inset. So this is a great opportunity to just showcase, hey, I've done all of this effort in ZBrush and in the high poly stage, but I again forgot an element. Do I have to go back into my high poly stage and fix that and run the gauntlet again of rebaking everything? The answer is no. Because at the end, you run that entire gauntlet just to get pixel information for your low poly. You, as an artist, can create new pixel information that is height related as well. If I were to... We'll call it neck detail. Let's see, if I were to Add a no, not a fill layer like that. Add a black mask. Add a fill layer. I know that in here there's like a half bell. Yep. So we'll use that as a shape fill. Put it in the right place. And have it repeat. Here. I want it to be hard. Now it is going to be a little bit more tedious to try and get it to work like this. But it beats going back to ZBrush and try to sculpt that thing. What we can do now, rather it's being in color, again, we give it height information. If we knock this down, it looks like it's getting embedded. Which is the exact same, it's the exact same method that you would get if you were to do this as a, model it as a high poly, bake it to your low poly, you get this exact same pixel information. However, now you're doing it in substance. It's just that it is a little bit more tedious and lining this up is going to be a little bit more annoying. So, cut, I need this to be sharper. Line this up just like this. Color. Basically have the shape. However, this thing does not have the right shape. I need it to be more angular. So do we have alpha that is more compliant with that shape? Probably not. What we could do is literally just add a paint it in ourselves. Also a new feature, or rather not a new feature, but like something they'll use for the first time in this project. I draw wobbly lines. We have a stabilizer built in Substance itself. When you do that, you get like this gray circle around your brush. I'm gonna have to set it a little bit smaller. You start painting, but nothing happens. However, the second that gray brush that is around your actual brush begins to move, that's where it then begins to draw. Now we are drawing a lot more smooth. It's better if you do it. I forgot to give this an ID mask. You saw it getting over the strings as well, which is not what we want. Just paint the details in. Would this have been faster if I'd done it in ZBrush? Yes. Is it a complete disaster that I forgot it? No. Just repaint it ourselves. concept. Again, far sharper. And holding down shift to give it a straight line. The last things I would want. Try to be as accurate as possible. Alright, cool. And with that we have the missing detail. A little bit of noise in there, but that's okay, because again, from a distance you're never going to see it. Cool, and with that we have our painted detail. We did not have to go back to ZBrush, we just fixed in the substance itself. Let's see. Close that window. I need that. See, we have some gradients, we have some damaged surfaces. Let's see. Try some of these more texture brushes, see if that will give us like a nice effect. Could be something that we'll have to adjust it a little bit. So just like again, when they were making that project or this software, they put they definitely looked at other softwares and were trying to make sure that basic functionality is in here as much as possible. So we also have things like jitter function. So to make this look a little bit more organic, I'm gonna mess with the size and angle jitter. And now if we start going over it, you can see that this is definitely giving a lot better results. Punch our opacity down. Still not quite sure what flow does. Guess softer results. A little bit of an ugly area. And gone. Did I not properly triangulate that one? It's technically a quad. But this is a quad that's really trying hard, and like I should have triangulated this one because this is probably a non-planar face, especially in a curved area such as this, and that's when you start getting weird normals like that. The way to fix this is most likely to actually give it a triangle here, because odds are, let me see if I can draw this. I'll just do it real quickly on the... So you as a human would probably triangulate like this, because that's the most logical thing. And then, okay, we have 3 triangles that are relatively evenly spaced, so everything is fine. However, what most likely happened here is that this thing auto-triangulated, but it made a triangle like this. So now we have probably a very narrow triangle here. The tangency is off, which is what gives these issues. Again, that's another technical error that I should have caught. That is something that will have to be fixed inside Maya. Turn off the wireframe again. Again, it's super tiny. Odds of someone actually going to be seeing it, pretty small. So as long as everyone remains quiet about this technical error, nobody needs to know about it. Cool. Don't look at me like that, Kurai. Keep your secret. All right, thank you. Yeah, like the amount of you as the artist yourself looking at your own work, you are your own worst critic, because you are going to see everything that is like wrong or technical mistake, or like, oh god, that is like, oh, I hope nobody sees that. 99% of all the people that are going to be looking at your work are going to be looking at it as like a full picture, and they're going to love it. They're not going to look at they might see it, but it's not going to take away from it. They'll still be like, oh, this is a wonderful piece of art. Hey there, how are you doing? Turn the lights off. Yeah, so again, still working on this, but like that perfectionism, let it go. People are not gonna, vast majority of people are not gonna see all of the things that you have been spotting in your own work. Focus on the neat parts. That autosave. Again, over here I'm trying to lay a foundation. Just some breakups. Let's see. Okay. Let's do a little bit of gold. And see if we can make some progress into figuring out how we want to get the chipped look. Okay. So we'll put a pin in the gray metal, mark it orange, gold metal. Paste the fuse, duplicate that one, diffuse breakup. I'm gonna grab the same leaky alpha. Let's see, what colors do we want? It's far too dark. We can layer it up a bit. Small. Because, again, same with the clouds that I talked about last stream. Many of these effects come to life when you layer them more. It adds depth to it. Rather than, I'm going to add a single breakup to this, and now it's going to look okay. Odds are it might fly under the radar, but if you want to push it to the next level, odds are you're going to have to pull out a lot more tricks. So here we have our large breakup. Now with this one, I'll just set the tiling to something like 12. Really get that contrast going and make sure it's only a handful of them. What happens if we make this one brighter? Get more visual interest. Okay. This is difficult and scary. Okay, so again, looking at the concept art. If we look at the gold up top, there is a burned in highlight. That one's completely brushed in. I still need to decide if I want to paint that into the diffuse map or if I find a way in Unreal to get that highlight to look like that. So I'm guessing we're gonna have to hand paint it. Then if we would look at the X piece of it, again, we have that faded metal, or rather the where the gold paint has been completely chipped away. Let's see if I can find something like that. Because this is the knowledge check. This is the, okay, you see an effect, can you mimic it? Do you know how to do this? So if I were to add a paint here and then paint with black pixels, it completely goes away because gray metal also requires. Pour the paint on this, so I'll just call this chip damage. Spelling mistake. Painting like this, I don't like how soft the transition is. So that ain't gonna be it. Let's see, because if I search metal, like all of the libraries, or rather all of the effects, metal peeling, that'll probably be far too realistic for what we want. Materials, no. Presets, no. Procedurals, no. Anything on the chip? Chip rake. This one might be interesting. No. Far too random. And again, far too realistic. All of these are giving some soft gradients, and I don't want that. Let me check the brushes. So we've used heavy sponge a couple of times. Can we increase the hardness of them? So I do like how it has a little bit of that edge wear. So we have ads in 30 seconds. I should stretch. I think we're gonna go with this brush. Autosave, let me get a glass of water and I'll be back in, let's say, a minute. Everyone get up, stretch. Alright, 1 minute 15 remaining. Because I'm looking at the concept art, I'm really zoomed in, and just looking at it, the artist used quite a hard brush. Maybe I'm just massively overthinking it. If I were to grab a square brush as well. That is the end of the ad break. Alright. I have arrived in the area of overthinking. What are we gonna do about this? Gradient reflect line. Alright, we'll try this one, see what happens. This is where I tell myself that I need to keep going rather than start worrying and sit down rather than keep moving forward. Got some chip damage. Alright, this is where I've gone silent and I'm trying to focus as much as possible. This is I'm gonna start throwing spaghetti at the wall and see what hits. Again, these diffuse breakups aren't working for me. I'm gonna get rid of them. They feel okay. I remove them and it immediately feels a lot more like how I want it to be. We have far too much visual noise in our diffuse, and I'm overly reliant on things like generators again. That is something I need to get rid of. It immediately looks 100 times better in my opinion. Mid-level. Some brighters on the edges. What do we have? Okay. Learning a thing or two, this character really needs just a messy paint job rather than me trying to be as precise and accurate as possible. Like, okay. I'm happy I learned that. tone it down a little bit. Dark level. Okay, the spaghetti throwing is working. We're getting better results. I'm happy with this. No longer freaking out. That's good. One thing I want to test on this thing real quick, because this is a stylized character and it has those stylized stripes on everything, like the pen marks. I want to see what it looks like if I would have like actually put on some if I were to like actually put on some black lines. You've seen this on the Borderlands characters, you've seen this on other graphical games. Stuff like the Telltale, the Walking Dead Telltale game also has it a lot. I would like to see what it looks like if I were to also add a couple. So as a test. And we're not going to rely on any generators. This is all going to be done by hand. We're to... Okay, so no opacity, no flow whatsoever. Probably not even want to have shape dynamics. Just what does it look like? Right, if I were to add a couple left, right, and center. we can tone them down in just a little bit. First, I want to see what the effect as a whole looks like. If I were to be able to draw straight lines. Okay. We have a help thingy. So let's say that these are black lines. Looking at concept, I can see if there's like a couple of scratches. Let me focus on this one first. This thing is pure black. First off, we do not use pure black. Second of all, I'm looking at the stripe and they're too thick. Do anything with like shader. The blur look like? That just makes it look indecisive. As a test, I'm gonna do a cloud overlay just to... Cloud overlays are always such a cheap I need a breakup effect. For example, okay, I used noise fractal. Alright, take care, Kurai. Thank you very much for stopping by. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time. Second you add a cloud to anything and you set it to a multiply, you can see that it starts to break up. This is borderline the cheapest way of doing a breakup in Substance. It is also immediately recognizable, which again, this is what I mean with don't just use a cloud to try and like get an effect going. No, I myself keep using it. Just as a test. A little bit more worn out. That's not the effect that I want on this. Probably have to use a different brush. That's different. Does Substance have anything like a pencil? Does. Okay, let's see how that goes. Because usually those have like a nice mimicking texture. That is far too chaotic. Hill jitter is gonna go away. Okay, so you really have to use this one as like size smallest. Yeah, well, welcome to the experimental style of being an artist of, okay, there's a style I'm trying to mimic and I don't know exactly how to do it. I call it throwing spaghetti at the wall, see what sticks. This is a big part of being an artist. Just, it's frustrating, it's uncomfortable, but we have to push through. Like, we will find something eventually. Last thing we should do is just, oh, it's not working. All right, sit down, do nothing. Then you're never gonna get there. It doesn't help that this is all being recorded, so this is gonna be even more uncomfortable for me, but gotta do it. Like, I knew that this was gonna be a very real possibility of when I started live streaming. It's like, yep, people are also gonna see these phases. And that's also the point. Like, people gotta see that art isn't like, oh yeah, I know exactly what I'm doing, not gonna make any mistakes. Like, there's absolutely areas of like, hi, I have no idea how to do this. Oh, good morning, Marin. How are you? That's in a couple of seconds, or in 2 minutes again. So if you need to get up, stretch your legs, do so, take care of yourself. How's my day been? My day's been going well. Had a nice walk through. Had a nice walk through the weather. I survived. Nice. Yeah, and just working on art, thinking on how I'm going to tackle aspects of this character in Unreal. Still a lot of questions in there that I need to research off stream, so all of you won't see me bungle that one. That's going. Okay, so I do like the pencil stripes. That is something I want to keep. Really gives it a graphical look. It's just going to take a lot of time to make it look the best it can. Okay, I do believe I want to put these test stripes in. Like, if I would have put them up above everything else, should be able to just start painting over things. Because again, looking at the axe, looking at the concept, there's a lot of... Basically everything has pencil stripes. Let's see if I can mimic that. I do have a voice inside of my head that is saying, hey, what if you try to find more like the generator? Maybe you can like combine some edgeware techniques. See if you can get some of those results looking good. I am very purposefully ignoring that voice right now because I know that having a hand drawn effect is it's gonna look better. So I did all of that without 21 centuries. We'll do the other hand. We'll have to redo this side. Guessing that one popped through. There was a truck honking outside. I saw my microphone spike for a second. Again, please let me know if any traffic or if any ambient sounds are pushing through, because then I'll just close my door again. Didn't hear anything? Okay. Maybe OBS caught something of like, hey, that doesn't sound like human. Something to work with, like the pencil effect. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Also, for the threads, let's see if I can make like a quick... Exit. Welcome on in. And then see... Hopefully I... Hopefully I caught that message early on. Okay. I think for those threads, or strings, strings, base diffuse, sure, and because I want to give them a little bit of an effect. Things should be brighter. I want to give him a little bit of an effect, so it's like... I hope this works. Black mask, give it a fill. This texture, most likely, yeah, fibers here. This. I want to see if this works. If we were to this fiber, rotate it like this, squeeze it. Odds are this is not gonna even show up because it's so small. Now it looks like they have a little bit more detail. Again, you're never gonna see it from this distance, but I know it's there. Let's see. I want to work more on the gray metal, because I feel like the stripes are absolutely working. That is definitely a good choice. Oh wait, this thing also has a chip in it. Let's see, we'll put that in. Put that in gold. Oh wait, I left this image on again, so again, I apologize for obstructing the UI. Let's see. So this thing has a crack. It should be right here. Black mask. We'll just paint it. I say that and immediately think about how I can do this with an alpha. So we'll test it with an alpha real quick. I think at this point it's more than common knowledge that if I say one thing, odds are I'll quickly change my mind and then do it the other way. So alphas, clean cuts, stripes, sharp line. No, I need something, probably something like a bell. See, do a planar projection. Basically anything so I don't have to draw straight lines. If you were to grab this, and we add a height channel to it, and if I were to turn this down, a little bit of an effect to it. Far too smooth, so because this is a bell shape, we can adjust the hardness to it. And the core, we'll just make it dark. Right, cool. Another added detail, and again, A, I can't draw straight lines to save my life. B, if someone shows up and be like, hi, that thing needs to be done differently, okay, cool. It is non-destructive. I can make it have whatever shape that you want. So that's why I'm such a big fan of having all of these alphas projected onto the model rather than try to hand paint it. Like that. Okay, cool. It's right, what else do we have? Well, we still have plenty of things to do. Yeah, we keep going. I'm learning about as fast as all of you are doing right now, hopefully. Just all of the spaghetti. Okay, so we have a bright level, a mid level, and a dark level on top of our diffuse. So I think I want to mimic that as well on our gray metal. So we have our base diffuse, this breakup. Again, I'm gonna stop relying on these grunge maps. They do more harm than good. So we are going to be painting all of these, and we're making clear decisions. We're not gonna let the generator make it for us. This is a stylized project. I'm gonna get better results if I were to do everything by hand. At least that's what I'm thinking now. And if I look at this part, I'm gonna say that yes, doing everything by hand is getting better results. So let's go. Just need to remember which brushes that I've used. Good thing that this is all being recorded, so even I myself can look back and be like, okay, which brushes did you use? I honestly cannot remember. Oddly embarrassing. Sure, no. Alright, heavy sponge it is.
Small businesses, telephone communication is still a kind of groping in the dark.
Hello? Hello? Who's this?
But now you can overcome all that with the Merlin system from AT&T. It's incredibly easy to use. So if your business isn't running as smoothly as you'd like, say hello to the Merlin system and put an end to it. AT&T, the right choice.
Just going over edgeware, see where things... See where I can put color information to enhance shapes.
Say hello to the Merlin system. Now you can overcome all that with the Merlin system from AT&T. It's incredibly easy to use.
Hey there, Brian Nader. Welcome on in. How you doing? How's your week been going? Alright, that was a motorcyclist. Sorry for being quiet, I'm not quite sure what I can talk about. Other than texturing is not my strong suit. Plenty of things that I'm completely unaware about, of like, oh yeah, this is some really nice workflow for it. Every time I do learn a lot about it, it's definitely not my strong suit. Dear autosave, please do not crash my substance. Okay. Parts. No. Okay, so I'm slightly starting to get the hang of this. Or at least how I want to think about this. Okay, so we have our base diffuse, which is, I'll treat it like a mid-level, and then I'll paint a dark and a bright on top of it. Have more visual interest like that, and try to push the stylized painted look a lot more. The fake ambient occlusion is doing a lot of heavy lifting. A whole lot yet. Or rather, I'm gonna see if I can push it even further. Threads are symmetrical, so for these elements we do turn back on our symmetry. Hey Nataski, welcome on in. What are you doing? These little painted highlights. highlight. How are we doing for time? Okay, so we're in the last hour. It's been a rough stream so far. We're finding our footing. This is gonna work out. Okay. Also, I am aware that I'm jumping all over the place now, because now we're going back to the gold medal. And the undersides of it. Let's see, I'm gonna paint in that highlight for now. See what it looks like. Where did my music go? Quiet part again. Alright. Painting those really narrow burnt highlights in. That is something that I don't yet know how to do. We learn by doing. Hey Ro, welcome on in. Happy to see you. Welcome to the rough part of texturing. Trying to figure out how we get the look. Not fully understanding how to get there. We have our highlight here, really burned in. What if we use the blur tool? That works. We're learning. Let me see if I can get one more level on top of it, so diffuse, highlight. Your internship starts next week. Hey, that's great to hear. Once more, congratulations on landing an internship. That is no easy thing to do. So, well done. I'm proud of you. Then are you allowed to say what that you're going to be making at the internship? Like what type of tasks are going to be your responsibilities? Four months of learning new stuff. All right. We're doing 3D scanning stuff. Ooh, nice. I've done that a bunch as well. 3D scanning is a lot of fun. Best piece of advice that I can give you for that one is have a physical notebook with you at all times and be ready to take notes. Because there's going to be a lot of it coming right at you. Okay, I like that highlight. Tried that before. E. Yep, 3D scanning is quite fun. There's going to be so much that you're going to be learning. So, well done. Can't wait to see some of your future work. you start practicing Blender? Yeah. If that is the tool that the company is going to be using as a primary software, then you'll have to pick it up as well. There tends to be a lot of technical stuff in the background if multiple artists start using their own software tools. You want to make backroom scenes with the green wallpaper and the SCPs running around, those type of backrooms. Maybe I'm misunderstanding. Personal interest, because the backrooms isn't that's the liminal space theme, right? Hey Alex, welcome on in. Welcome to the stream. I think the company requires ZBrush to work. Okay, so maybe it's a collective of both ZBrush and Blender. Mute for a sec. Again, there's an ambulance nearby, so I'll just mute up for a few seconds. Backrooms isn't related to the internship. For Blender practice, just want to make my own game about the backrooms. Ah, okay, gotcha. Now I understand it. Cool. Then, yeah, absolutely go for it. Personal projects all the way. Okay, I'm rereading those messages and okay, I get it now. Cool. Yeah, that was me. That was me pulling multiple themes next to each other. highlight in there. Okay, interesting. Kind of cool that the blur tool allows for this. Okay. What happened up here? It's just a red line. Cool, so this acts... Oh, hey Labcode, welcome on in. So this axe started as completely pale, and this is the effect that we have so far. A lot of discomfort, a lot of I don't know what to do, but I think by just relentlessly going at it, we managed to find something. A few more of those stripes in. I'm happy that things are working out. Some of these things aren't being perfect, but that is actually fine. Let's see. Okay, I should probably finish up these lines as well. Okay, these lines are absolutely selling the idea that this is more of a stylized thing, so I absolutely need to do that almost everywhere. We're once again not doing a symmetry, so let me get rid of that real quick. You have an idea for your thesis now? Must be cool if I can make models of my character and print it out. Okay. Yeah, absolutely go for that. In fact, that was also my graduation project. I made a little Anubis sculpt. Though back in 2016, yeah, like a figurine. Back in 2016, the 3D printers weren't as robust as they are now, so I never managed to print my graduation project. Yeah, if you make a model of your character and print it out, then that will absolutely be a fun graduation project. Ooh. Yeah. I think the Anubis is somewhere on my blue sky. Very lanky figure. Definitely more of an artistic rendition of it rather than more classical Anubis. Also extremely skinny legs. So back at my university there was a dedicated 3D print room and it had PLA printers. And you could rent, quote unquote, rent them, as in make a reservation, and for those hours, you would be able to utilize the 3D printer. I rented that thing for 16 hours because that's how long it would take. Constantly that thing would snap at the ankles. The printer wasn't, call it, it was not, it was not successful. Even after like 4 or 5 tries, I never managed to print it. Somewhere in a drawer I have like 5 PLA prints of like the base, and then you see it at some point where it nears the ankle, and then it just always snaps. If I were to do it now, I'll do it completely different. Or at least give him far thicker legs, or make the pose a lot less reliant on like 2 ankles and a sword tip that is embedded in the ground. I hope your project will go better. And absolutely keep us updated if you if your project gets greenlit by your teachers, and then yeah, I'm very much interested in this. Please keep us updated. Yeah, I definitely got a good experience out of it. Learned a lot of ZBrush methods from it. Definitely in terms of like hard surface sculpting. Yeah, so everything worked out. I got my graduation through it. It's just that unfortunately the 3D print, which would have been the cherry on top of the pie, or rather cake, that is the only one that didn't. That is the only thing that didn't work. It's fine. The teachers also said like, yeah, you learned enough from this. Quality is good enough. So congratulations. That is a successful graduation project. Here is your diploma. I mean, now 10 years later, who knows? I might make an Anubis sculpt again at some point. We'll just make him bigger and better. Though I have a couple of ideas for other future projects first. And with this project, so for this project, we have half an hour remaining. This project is nearing the finish. Like, it's in sight. We are currently texturing. Last step is gonna get this thing to work inside of Unreal Engine, which, oh boy, that's gonna be something. But after that, this thing is this thing is gonna be quote unquote finished. Now it's still in progress on the rigging, but in terms of, how do you call this? I'll be done with it. Make sure that, yeah, okay, so this is where I accidentally left symmetry on. This is not what I want. So I have to start looking for a new project. I already have like a couple of candidates of, oh yeah, this design is something really cool. Hopefully I can get to that part relatively quickly. But also I should absolutely not flake on the final presentation of this project, because the VODs have been getting uploaded to YouTube. I believe there's currently 27 chapters uploaded. There's still a handful of them, and every chapter is about 3 hours. So I will not be surprised if we cross the 100-hour finish line. And the last thing I want is to like plunk the finish line. Your second model was also an Anubis. Hey, cat, cool. Let's make hot Anubis guy again. Go for it. I think that's the curse of this project. We always keep forgetting about the skull. Let's give it some love. We keep forgetting symmetry. Fine. You know what? Fine. I'll do these two bolts asymmetrical. As I can. If anything, they'll look better for it. Motorcycle incoming. Give me a second. Really nice weather outside, so yeah, plenty of people riding on their motorcycles again. Completely fine. Okay, and the last part, let's go also with a lot of lines on it. First, with symmetry. Now this character once again skull needs some blood. Also, first clean up the diffuse. Gotta head out. Hope you have a nice stream in the day. Thank you, Ro. Thank you very much for hanging out. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye. And in about 15 minutes, we'll be looking for a raid target and we'll raid out. This stream has been a little bit draining. A lot of thinking of just, okay, what can I do better? Definitely learning a thing or two about like, oh yeah, these things I'm pretty. These things I need to get better at. We're learning. Some blood. Let me just grab a layer from the other stack again. have some on the horns. And on the teeth. This one we definitely want to have asymmetrical. The big smear on the other side. Okay. I'm happy with that one. I'm also quite surprised as how far we got with this axe, because it kind of looks like we literally started with this and we've done all of this in 3 hours. Took some time to figure out the style. I do believe I'm happy with this. For now, I will be picking at this over the week and just looking at what type of workflows I can, what's the word for it? Like document, and then see how I can form them less chaotic, because this one had a lot of trial and error in it. But overall, I'm still very proud of this one. I think if we can get this look over the entire hyena, then we're gonna have a really, really, really cool final project on our hands. 9 minutes remaining. I don't think I want to start something new, or as in pick up an element from the Hyena Bard, like start working on that, because all of it, we're now in the nitty-gritty parts of it. Now we're gonna start looking at things and go like, okay, drawing lines everywhere, making sure that scuff marks are correct. Now we're getting into the nitty-gritty tertiary detail, or tertiary detail, I shouldn't say that. We're in detailing stage now. So if I'm gonna start something, I gotta continue it. And I don't want to start something now for 10 minutes and then at the start of next week have to remember, oh yeah, what was I doing again? So I'm gonna look for an individual that we can raid and go say hi to. Let's check Twitch. Let's see who is on. Let's see. Alright. We're going to see a familiar face. We're going to say hi to Volpin. And also, Volpin has a new puppy. And I need everyone to look at that puppy. It is incredibly cute. So, yes, everyone, thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to stick around for the raid, please hang on for a little bit longer. If you have my emotes, as always, cozy raid. That's the raid message. If you'd like to see more of me outside of Twitch, I have a blue sky. shameless self-plug. This is where you can find me. If you'd like to see more of me outside of Twitch, follow that link. Otherwise, we're gonna say hi to Volpin. If you don't have my emotes, you can unlock my channel points. And I'll see all of you next week again. Thank you very much for hanging out. Wait, hang on. Should probably do this command as well. /raid. Otherwise, it's not gonna be a whole lot of raiding. Raid has been created. Alright, cool. Thank you all very much for hanging out. And I will see all of you next time. Take care. Bye bye.